Is this gonna be another video about Lego just salting? Because it's kind of getting old. And you know what? Yeah, this might be one of those. We're talking about Team Canada and Team Germany yesterday, and even though the Canadiens went out there and absolutely smoked the heck out of the German hockey team, and everybody's eyes are on one player in Conor mother-freaking Bedard, we've made way too many videos about this 17-year-old that it's kind of getting old. I feel like we could go out there and say, hey, the guy got 7 points, 3 goals, 4 assists. He is a game changer. We could talk about Canada's goalies and how they're not great. And, I mean, okay, that's an appropriate video topic, but I don't want to go out there and make a video about how 2 teenagers are insufficient as they represent Team Canada at the World Juniors. Like, that's a little low, I think. And so, we're not talking about goaltending, we're not talking about Connor Bedard. Instead, we're talking about the other guy who had a hat trick, whose name really isn't getting placed anywhere because he's overshadowed by Bedard. We're talking today about Arizona Coyotes prospect Dylan Guenther. Because when it comes to Guenther and the way that he's performed so far, it has been an absolute treat for Coyotes fans. And the reason I say Coyotes fans is because he is one of the few NHL caliber players that's actually on this World Junior team. You have Shane Wright, who was lent over from the Seattle Kraken. Okay, is he really an NHL caliber player? He hasn't been played like it, because that guy's been sitting out every few games and getting sent down to the AHL. But for Dylan Guenther, the guy so far, as a 19-year-old 6'2", 181 right-handed right-wing, left-wing player drafted 9th overall by the team in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. He's got 21 games played, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 total points, on pace for, let's say, okay, he's projected 70 games played. He's probably not going to get all of them because the World Juniors is going on, but let's just say on pace for around 60 games played, and we'll do 11 divided by 21 multiplied out by 60. He is on pace for roughly 30 points on the year, which is not bad. Really not bad. And if you take a look at it, I mean, the guy has, so far, for Team Canada, 4 points in the 2-game sample that he has had, and the hat trick from yesterday against Germany is included in that. Now, sure, 2 of those goals, you could say, hey, he was just kind of set up by Bedard there on the same spot, on the same 5-minute major power play, where he's planted on the left side. Bedard does an incredible pass. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Conor, as he loads up and opens the forehand towards the goalie, eyeing the goalie down before just zipping a pass across cross crease over to Guenther, who's able to one-time it in. Like, there's absolute hockey brilliance on display anytime Connor Bedard steps out there, and Guenther was on the receiving end of that. But I just wanted to make this video as another one of these reminders. Hey, this guy is doing really well. I want to talk about this guy in particular because the Vancouver Canucks had themselves the opportunity to get this guy, but they traded that opportunity away for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, for Conor Garland. They traded away the 1 year of cap hell that they would have to go through for seemingly another decade. And this Dylan Guenther was included in that. In fact, if you go over to some of the return there, hey, Conor Garland is the forward that the Canucks got in that OEL trade. If you need a refresher, it was Beagle, Antoine Roussel, Louis Eriksson, and the first-round pick for the Canucks, 9th overall in 2021, in exchange for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, with a bit of salary retained, and Conor Garland. I think the Canucks threw in another draft pick in there as well, but I can't recall at the top of my head. Either way, Conor Garland this season has 16 points in 33 games played, still shifty, still feisty, still small, still as effective as he has ever been. Maybe not as effective as he was at the start of the 2021-2022 year, but he's still there. If you do the math over here, 16 divided by 33 is roughly a .4848 points per game. And if you do the math on Dylan Guenther, 11 divided by 21 is a .52 points per game. Guenther is having a better season than Conor Garland is. On a worse team, he's arguably better, and he is younger. By a lot. Conor Garland is 26 years old, Dylan Guenther is 7 years of youth more. So, yeah, I mean, look at what Guenther is doing at the World Juniors. I know he's had a few gimme goals where it was just kind of Connor Bedard doing all the work, but still, just watching this guy, absolutely plummet the puck into the back of the net from distance, from range, doing things that we thought Brock Besser would be able to do, doing things that Alex Ovechkin does on the daily on that left faceoff circle. Just watching how Guenther plays and how confident and how skilled he is. Sure, he's playing on a talented Team Canada, but he's still doing this stuff in the NHL as well. I know he's only got 3 goals in the NHL season so far, but the guy's still a rookie. He's going to go out there and he's going to be better as his career proceeds. And the worst part is, I don't know if Conor Garland in particular is going to be as good as he ever was in that first stint that he had as a Canuck. He was amazing in his first few games in Vancouver, as Travis Green was getting the sack, as everybody else was not producing, as Elias Pettersson was going through his big slump. Conor Garland was the only guy that was actually doing something and getting points. He ended off that season with a pretty good career high of 52 points in 77 games played. This season, I feel like Conor Garland has sort of stabilized into what he is right now, a middling, middle six forward that does a few good things once in a while, but really just isn't as good as he had been. I mean, sure, he still is feisty, he still makes plays, he still dumps the puck out, and he's still noticeable. It's just, I notice Conor Garland a lot more nowadays for the way he's able to dump the puck out and go on a line change rather than the shifty, tight angle snipes that he was able to pull off last year. Like the one against Detroit is the one that comes to my mind right away, where he was hanging out on the goal line and he just snipes it from a super tight angle. I believe it was off the goalie's mask and in. That game where he goes out there and agitates the rest of the Red Wings, he gets everybody pissed off at him. Like, that's the Garland that I remember, and for some reason I don't really see too much more of that nowadays. Now, I'm not going to say that Dylan Guenther is that. Like, Dylan Guenther is not an agitator. It's just Guenther has the potential to do what he's doing right now, sniping pucks, clapping bombs, and going out there producing points, and doing that to a much greater magnitude by the time next year rolls around, by the time 2025 rolls around, by the time this next decade rolls around and Conor Garland is 36 years old, Dylan Guenther is going to be smack dab in the middle of his prime, hopefully with a few hundred points in the NHL by that time. Like, I really do feel that if Guenther maxes out to his absolute ceiling, this is a 30-goal, 70-point guy for the Arizona Coyotes, especially playing with a player like Logan Cooley, and you see what the other Coyotes have going on there. I mean, Michelli's looking pretty good. Of course, you have Goss to spare, but he's not going to be sticking around. He's going to get traded soon. But the youth, take a look at the youth. And you still got more on the way. Adam Fantilli, Connor Bedard, whoever it is that you take in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft, if the Coyotes stink just a little bit longer, they might be able to actually see that Bedard to Guenther cross-seam pass one-timer power play goal multiple times in the NHL as soon as next year. And the Canucks missed out on that guy. Not Connor Bedard, they're probably not going to get him, but like, Guenther, they had a chance to get him, and they said nah. So, talk to the comments on your thoughts, Dylan Guenther and his stellar performance so far at the World Juniors, the hat trick, of course, which is being overshadowed by Bedard's hat trick, which happened in the same game, and Bedard had 4 assists, so he tied the Canadian record for most points in one World Junior game, and he's only 17 years old, so yeah, go out there and talk to the comments on your thoughts about this Canadian squad. I mean, you could talk to me about Bedard if you want, but there's really nothing else that we need to say about that man. He is just way too good. We have run out of superlatives, as Bob McKenzie went out there and said, to talk about Bedard and describe the way that he's played. But Guenther, he's also there too. He also got a hat trick. So, talk to the comments on your thoughts about him, the Arizona Coyotes, the future of this player, the Canucks, and the way that they ended up giving up on Guenther because they wanted Conor Garland instead. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.